If you've been wanting to try winter hiking in New Hampshire, but don't want anything sketchy, steep, or generally soul-crushing, then this video is for you. Today I'm sharing 4 easy winter hikes in New Hampshire, including a couple that don't get talked about nearly enough. These are great if you're new to winter hiking or just want something low stress with good views. My name's Rebecca with Navigation None. As a quick reminder, easy in winter doesn't mean zero prep. Conditions change fast, so always check the weather, trail reports, and definitely bring traction. But overall, these hikes are beginner-friendly and realistic for most people. Let's get into it. First up is Mount Pemigewasset, or Mount Pemi, near Lincoln, New Hampshire. This one is such an underrated winter hike. It's short, relatively mellow, and the trail is usually well-packed enough because it's popular year-round. The summit has open ledges with beautiful views facing south of Franconia Notch, and that is especially pretty in winter. You do get to do a couple river crossings. The first one has a fun little bridge. And for the most part, the trail is pretty wide and open all the way to the top. It does get a little narrow and windy as you reach the summit ledge, but it's really not that bad. I was able to get this hike in without any snowshoes on because it is pretty well packed, and you really just need a pair of micro spikes. Overall, this trail is great for beginners. It's pretty well traveled and the views are very rewarding without a huge climb. If you're nervous about your first winter hike, this is a great confidence booster. Next is Mount Potash, which I feel like almost no one talks about, and that's kind of why I love it. This hike is on the quieter side, so it's great if you want something peaceful and not super crowded. The trail isn't overly steep, and it's really quite mellow with a really beautiful river crossing at the beginning, and with some minor winter traction like some micro spikes, it's really pretty manageable. The summit might not be super dramatic, but you do get a really nice ledge lookout right at the beginning. So if you're looking for a more solitude experience, then consider Mount Potash. It is right off the Pemigewasset near Waterville Valley. Mount Major is probably the most well-known hike on this list, and in the summer it really does get quite crowded. But that's the magic of winter hiking. The crowds thin out even for a really popular hike like Mount Major. This trail is pretty short, it's decently packed down in the winter, and the views of Lake Winnipesaukee are incredible. There is this section right here where it gets kind of steep and slippery, and it gets a little sketchy, but there is that rope to get you down to the bottom. With this one, you can expect some crowds, and it's still beginner friendly. And as a bonus, I really had to talk about Mount Willard. It gets mentioned all the time as a perfect beginner's hike, and that's because it really is the perfect beginner's hike. If you've never done it in winter, it's totally worth it. It's pretty short, pretty gentle, and the viewpoint looking over Crawford Notch is gorgeous, as long as you don't go on a day like I did when it's covered in clouds. If you want a classic winter hike that feels achievable, this is a great option. And that's all I have for you guys today. So if you're looking for easy winter hikes in New Hampshire, I would suggest you start with Mount Pemi or Mount Willard, as they really are kind of your perfect beginner's hike with a lot of crowds to it, so you should feel pretty safe. And then when you're feeling a little more brave, go ahead and reach out to places like Potash. It's a really great hike. I will be updating the full blog post with these hikes, and I include things like how to get to the trailhead, what the stats are, elevation, what you can expect for time. And if you found this video at all, please give it a like, a follow, and join me on my Patreon. That's it, guys. Thanks. Have a good one.